A Star Wars movie is coming out in theaters this month. Have you heard anything about it?
Only my kids are like, Dad, 26th of May, are you taking us to the theaters?
When did the
Heard.
when did the Rise of Skywalker come out? That was like
December
right in the middle of
29
COVID.
29 right before. I
Yeah, it was,
Right
it was
before.
right before.
Like during those 3 movies for like that 5-year span when that sequel trilogy was coming out, you could not escape it. It was everywhere. There were ads. They were in magazines. They were newspapers. It's just like I could not get away from Star Wars during that time, even though I hated the sequel trilogy.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You didn't see any of them in the theater, or did
No, okay. So I saw the first one in theaters. I went to it and like I saw it. I'm like, this is basically the first movie, like the original movie.
Yeah.
And then the more I thought about it, the more I didn't like it, and I just over time like it did not grow on me like the way they normally do.
Yeah.
And then the next one came out, and I just did not like that one at all.
Really? I always will like episodes 4, 5, and 6 the best. You know, probably like everybody. I feel like they kind of butchered 1 through 3. So then when they came out with these other 3, they're not numbered, right? They're just
No,
there's
it's
one-
6, 7, and 8.
7,
They
8,
are-
9.
7, 8, 9.
They are 7, 8, 9.
Yep.
So when they come out with those, so I felt like they were much better than 1 through 3. But like today, we're not watching any of those. We'll just watch the original 3. That's it. Like, so I don't go back and watch them, but I just feel like they did a better job.
They had higher production value. I think they didn't have George Lucas micromanaging everything. But like I have not rewatched 8 or 9 since it came out. I think I rewatched episode 7 a couple of times to try and make myself like it.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's just a straight remake of the original one.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think it just production value was a lot better. The only reason, and I know Brock is going to hate me for this, but the only reason like the problems I have with 79 and 1 through 3 are the characters. Kylo Ren, like he kind of comes off a little bit
Emo.
whiny.
Yeah.
And emo, yeah. Like he doesn't seem like he's not Darth Vader where he's like angry but with a purpose and kind of strong. He's kind of looks like, please don't throw a tantrum. Like he's just always throwing tantrums. And everyone's like, who gave the kid a lightsaber, right? And it's kind of the same thing with Anakin, I think, because he's just like kind of throwing a tantrum for the first 3 movies. He's like, hey, I'm kind of this cocky little kid and I'm going to learn the Force. And then he does. And then he's just like, I'm going to go after the hot queen and get her, but I'm going to be kind of a depressed, boy when I finally get her, I'm just going to like complain and be whiny. Like, I don't know. That was the only real reason. Like there's a big argument to be made about Jar Jar Binks, but
Jar Jar is the key to all of it.
Exactly. But so that's the only reasons. To me, the originals, like you can't recreate like a Han Solo. You just like can't really do that. Like the way that the whole thing came together was just like good. And the other 6, it was just the characters were my only problem.
Yeah, like I think by the third movie, like by Revenge of the Sith, they'd finally figured out what they were doing, but it was kind of too late. They were already 2 movies deep at that point. So I have fond memories of that one. The second one, I think when everybody thinks that the prequels are bad, I think it's because they're remembering the second one. But the first one, it's kind of boring. There's a lot of talking, and then suddenly you have 4 action scenes going on simultaneously.
Yeah.
But even back then, like the prequel trilogy, when it was coming out in the early 2000s, there were advertisements everywhere. They went absolutely crazy. It's like they had like 100 different action figures for it. They had like Mountain Dew cans that you could collect and things like that. They had Happy Meals. Yeah. Everything. And then with the sequel trilogy, same thing. It wasn't probably as big as far as like marketing. It's just because Star Wars is already everywhere at that point. But for this one, we have a Star Wars movie coming out this month. I've hardly seen anything. The only advertisement I've seen for it was on the Super Bowl. Everything else I've had to seek out. So what's going on there? Why aren't they pushing this movie down our throats like they always do?
Because nobody wants it.
You think so?
I don't think anybody cares. I think everybody's tired of Star Wars because they've done so much damage to the brand. They've used it so much that everyone's like, okay. Because when Force Awakens came out, that was the first Star Wars thing, really. I guess you have the Clone Wars series, which was pretty good, but that was the first Star Wars movie since Revenge of the Sith. So it was like, what's that gap? Like, not 20 years. It was probably like
2005,
12,
10 years, 2005 to
years.
2016, I think, 15 or 16.
Yeah, and you had the hype of J.J. Abrams directing, and he was coming off the Star Trek movies that people liked, and so everyone was like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be great." And then
He's going to do for Star Wars what he did for Star Trek.
yeah, basically. And so the first one came out, and I think people were pretty like they were like, "All right, yeah, this is good." And then 8 came out, and they were like, what the hell?" And then 9 came out, and it was like I didn't
They're
watch
like, oh,
9.
of course, the Emperor is cloning
Yeah.
himself like that.
Somehow Palpatine returned. Greatest
Yeah.
line in all of Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Do you want me
history.
to ruin it for you, or like you ever gonna watch it?
I've seen it. I didn't watch it in the theaters, but
okay.
I watched all the Star Wars movies a couple of years ago, and I said, you know what, I gotta watch Rise of Skywalker, and it did not disappoint in being bad.
Did you guys not see the holes in like if Palpatine was that smart, why would he put all of his clones in one spot and all of his like star Earth destroyers, moon destroyers or whatever? They're not star destroyers, right?
Yeah,
They're Star
bigger and
Destroyers with
better.
Death Star cannons on
with
them.
Death Star cannons, right?
Yeah.
Let's put them all on one planet, so that way, if one like
Yeah.
rebel can blow the planet up, like my whole plan's over.
Yeah,
It
it's
seems
just
a little like
brutal.
that
Dude
guy's
like that would have backup. He'd have redundancy.
exactly. I think so. I think he would be like, oh yeah, I have like a offsite. You know, this is actually a VPN to the real planet. You know.
Yeah. No, just I could go into the Star Wars sequels for hours, but they wasted Finn and Poe Dameron as characters. They set them up to be really cool. Really, really the first movie, as much as it is a remake of A New Hope, I think it set up a lot of cool stuff. Then in 8,
They just threw
They
it
just
all in the trash.
destroy everything, ruin Luke's legacy as a character.
Mm-hmm.
By the way,
They massacred my boy.
they massacred my boy
Yeah.
because he spends the entire original trilogy trying to see the good in Darth Vader, the most evil man on the planet, and like really ready to sacrifice his life. And then the whole reason that we have a villain in the sequel trilogy is because he had a bad dream about this kid and just went to just go massacre, just go kill him.
Yeah, he was just gonna just cut his head off in sleep.
Yeah.
And it's completely out of character. But anyways, we
It's a
don't
good
need it.
point, actually.
The prequels, by the way, I must defend. I think story-wise are incredible. Action-wise, I think are pretty peak. Like when I was a kid, that's what I grew up on. Really, I grew up on the original trilogy as well. First Star Wars movie I ever saw was Return of the Jedi. That's what made me fall in love, was the Rancor scene, because I thought it was so awesome. But then I went through a period of hating them because everyone else hated them, and now I'm starting to realize, oh, these are actually great story-wise. Dialogue-wise, George Lucas cannot write dialogue.
Homie can't write dialogue.
It's some of the worst I've ever seen. And obviously they were limited at the time with CGI, so that doesn't really hold up. But
If they had waited 10 years and had somebody else write it, I think we would have been better off,
so,
right?
have you ever read any of the original story treatments for it?
No, not for,
They are
not for
awesome.
1 through 3, no.
There's some things like there's supposed to be like this kind of love triangle between Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Padme, to where she likes Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan's not interested, but Anakin likes her, and that kind of drives why he's so angsty and jealous of his master, is because the girl he's got the hots for has the hots for his master, and then Obi-Wan's trying to stay out of it.
See, that would have been better, especially if when she's trying to break up with Anakin, she's in her slave outfit and she's like, I was trying to seduce Obi-Wan, and you just saw me right now. I'm not trying to make this harder on you, you know?
I just love, on the rewatch, I've rewatched them last year at the same time. I just love the dynamic between like the Jedi Council and Anakin, because the Jedi Council low key is in the wrong in the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, they're just a bureaucracy. They're Qui-Gon's the only one who knew what was going on.
Qui-Gon's the goat.
He was a maverick.
Obi-Wan, honestly, is also the goat.
He was just a yes man the whole time, dude.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah,
he was trying to uncover the conspiracy.
He was by the
bro.
book.
No. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know about, I can't weigh in on that one. You guys seen those memes with the marshmallows that are like on the stove getting burned, and then they have the dub over of that scene, so you just hear him being like,
You
I
were my
hate
brother.
you.
I loved you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that exchange is also really great.
Yeah, and he's like, I hate you.
Yeah, that's one of the few times where like the writing, I'm like, dang. alright.
This could be factual or not, but I remember watching like one of those Star Wars YouTubers who was explaining it. The original thought process there wasn't that he was just going to get sliced in half by Obi-Wan and fall in the burning pit. The lava thing was actually supposed to be a thing ever since, if you go back to like one of the original books that came out before Empire did, it references the lava planet, and that's why he was all burned. I think it's like Splinter of the Mind's Eye or something, which I don't think it's canon, but it's like, so that idea was in Lucas's head back in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the original thought was Anakin was just going to get more and more turned into a robot. He was going to just be in battles. He'd get another limb cut off until he was more machine than man. And then he was eventually going to fall into the lava at some point and become all burned. But I guess they realized that they're like, oh, we forgot to cut off his legs and stuff. So let's just wrap it all up
Let's
in one
just
fight.
make him a robot in one. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the thing. That's why I wanted to bring it up since we're a marketing podcast. Because like Star Wars is heavily marketed, but I've only seen the Super Bowl spot for that. I haven't seen it shoved down our throats in any other way. I'm like, are they just putting it out there because they've already spent all this money on it, and they're like,
yeah, they could have spent that Super Bowl money a lot better.
Yeah, I really think it's because we had Rise of Skywalker, and then we had all these shows: the Kenobi show, the Boba Fett show, the Acolyte. I think the only good one was Andor. That was the only one that was received well in the last however many years, 5 years of shows. So I think people are just like, I don't.
And Andor, I think, really got its lift from Andy Serkis in that one. It's like in the first season because he did so well in it, and then it kind of helped the rest of the show gain momentum. I feel
I
like.
need to watch. I'm gonna watch.
Did you guys like Rogue One? The one that was just kind of like the random one off in.
When I've only seen it once, and
Yeah.
I think I was too young to get it. I think if I rewatched it, I would like it.
I didn't hate it. It's like
I mean, everybody dies, and I kind of like that. Like,
Yeah.
not in a that sounds weird, but like
Yeah.
you don't. Not everybody's always gonna make it.
yeah, it's like especially with Star Wars, they love like showing somebody get fatally wounded, and they're like, nah, they're fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so, but I also found that interesting that they took one line from one movie and made a whole movie about it. What's the line, Zach?
That was Return of the Jedi though, but the Bothans.
Yeah, many Bothans died, getting us this data. That's the only like line, and then they were like, let's make a whole movie about all those guys who die.
Dude, one of the coolest Darth Vader scenes ever in Rogue
Yeah,
One.
so the original concept behind Rogue
yeah.
One is they were going to do a whole Star Wars movie without a single lightsaber showing up in it. And they did good until the very end. They're like, we got to have Darth Vader. Like,
Well, and
coolest
that's
part.
where it's like that's a Darth Vader because he's just kind of like
He's pissed,
unstoppable. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that the original we need to get off Star Wars, but that's something that like the original trilogy, due to it's hard to foresee what Darth Vader was to become in later canon, but it's like he should be a lot more like bad. We'll cut that out,
Yeah.
but
he's unstoppable in it. Like he
But-
just runs down a whole squad of
Yeah.
rebel troopers.
but in the original trilogy, it's kind of like
He shows up after the killing's already done. It's like he's
Yeah.
just the management at that point.
I feel like they did a good job though with his character because he's convinced. Like if you ever notice, he's just very even like 4, 5, and 6, and Rogue One. His dialogue's actually good. Like he like interrupts people where they're like, "Well, we're not sure," so he's like, "Get it done," kind of a thing, and he just walks off like he's like no nonsense.
Yeah.
But he gets he's very convincing to me. If you said, well, he's a depressed man with all this power who at this point has nothing left to live for, so he's just carrying out the rest of his life
Yeah.
as he knows it, but he's not like necessarily driven by anything.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't seem like he's really into this. But he's doing it because
I
the
agree.
emperor's his master, so fine, I'll do it. But he's not like, even when they're like, hey, you need to convert Luke over the dark side, he's kind of just like, okay, because my master said so. And then Luke's like arguing with him, and he's like, well, I must obey my master. Like he's not even that convinced, but he's just like, what else am I supposed to do?
Sorry, Luke, I'm under NDA. I can't.
Yeah. So I thought that was actually pretty good because you're never really convinced that he likes being on the dark side, but you're also like, he comes across as like, I have no reason to go back to the light side.
Just a company man
Yeah.
at that point.